Hey guys, it's me again. I'm coming on tonight. So I have to start this off by saying that I'm starting off with the download I got yesterday. It's a very short one, very succinct one, but a very powerful one. So this video is going to be about that message, basically, and then it goes on to kind of look at what we're facing right now and a way of transmuting what is to come. So I wanted to talk about this today, and I would say the title of this, if I can name it, would be like, we have to realize that there's going to be a lot of contradictions in our face in the next several years. And this message that I was brought forth, I'm not at a place where I'm supposed to disclose who told me this, but I was channeling a person, and he was generous enough to share this with me and kind of give me some envisionments of things to come, and also base things a lot off of the past that can kind of hint to what we may be facing. So with that said, I just want to say hi to all of you. I have my beautiful subscribers. Thank you for being a part of this journey with me. I truly appreciate it, because sometimes I get these things and I'm just like I don't want to be the bearer of this type of news, but at the same time, I also want to make you guys fully aware. It's the most important thing that, if I am reaching somebody that needs to hear this message today, that's what makes the most sense, and that's what's most important. So I got to forget about everything else. So the message I got was, and this was last night, I was doing my, my thing. It was, the reset has begun. So I got this feeling of like a light being flicked on, like it started, and it was like, it will be the worst before it will be the best. That was the line I got. It'll be the worst before it will be the best. And so what I was getting in that moment, I also continued to channel, and I was getting a lot of different contradictory situations that we have to see sometimes, that what this message does represent is not only something of chaos and doom, but also one of power and strength. Because I feel like the overall feeling I was getting for this energy that we're going into is that there's got to be a huge shakeup to get what we need achieved on this planet to happen. And why I say this is because obviously we see around us that there's a lot of turmoil going on. And it doesn't matter if it's manufactured, Mother Gaia causing it. We're at a crux point of intense shift. So the thing is that with this intense shift, if we can navigate our way through it, in the sense, because we are all going to be living entities, a living embodiment creature, all banding together in order to resurface something more amazing, or as it was put, the best. So and the reason why I think this is a little intimidating, as I was saying about the past, sometimes we have to look at these contradictions and realize that these contradictions and these horrific things that people can see in their lifetimes are made and created in order to push forth a generation, a population in a direction of, let's say, of guidance and strength. So please understand that whatever is to come, be it what it may, let the chips fall where they may, and not to knock it and let it just happen, but at the same time know that you are strong, that you are we as a populace are going to come to a point where we desperately will have to band together, regardless of any fucking title and barrier we create in our fictitious existence. So the thing is that when does that point come? When does that point happen? And this portrayal of the next years to come will kind of answer that question. And how far do the human species have to go before they start to say, we take the power back, we control this? Like, we're living in a world basically where we've given, as a human species, all of our power away to a governing body, an existential separate entity that can basically shape our existence, shape our health on this planet, that can shape our existence to live, breathe, eat, sleep, do all the normal things that any human being should be granted on this planet. And those things are going to get stripped away. And how far it goes is determinant on us. Because the big lie that we're not facing as a populace is that in order for things to change, we have to grab that power back away from these bodies that necessarily may not be here for our best interest. Because realistically, with all the things that are presently happening and more to come, there's going to be a lot of finger pointing, there's going to be a lot of blame to go around, but at the same time, there's also going to be a lot of things that we may not know how to handle. And why I think this is important for you to listen to me is because at the same time, it's like, if you don't face something as simple as me, how are you going to face other situations as much as a nation, as much as a society, as much as your own backyard for that matter? So the reason why I was brought back to the past after I got this message is because we have to understand that contradictions sometimes create the best change. And why I say that is for situations, and I'll go into it. As you know, I have my board, but I'll probably just post it up. I was getting this double-edged sword energy the entire time. And the double-edged sword is something that is seen in many different situations. It's not just to say, but what a double-edged sword in essence represents is something that you would think goes one way or should create a certain situation. And you end up getting fixated on that point and you end up stabbing yourself with it. So the thing is like, for example, why double-edged sword is somewhat associated with Jesus, for example. Jesus came to this planet so that he could portray to people that he wanted everyone to love their brothers and sisters. He did not care what background you had, if you're a leper, prostitute, if you were Pharisees, if you were Roman, whatever the case may be, he still treated you with respect and due diligence. Now, the thing is that he was trying to portray a world where people followed more of an Essenic tradition, which is more humbling, more off to the caves, more about reflection, self-mastery, etc. Now, the thing is that because of his existence, all this other stuff happened. All this divide was created. Okay, so this person ended up being a double-edged sword. Came for one purpose, but was trajected into a different purpose. Like, we all reckon his name. I totally hear that. But at the same time, how humans proceeded after his existence was to separate and divide further, create religious entities to represent a religion that he himself did not follow. There was no mysticism involved. There was no brotherly love involved. So therefore, everything that this rock was built on a man-made perspective, and not that of the man himself who professed to do greater things than build cathedrals, etc., in the name of his Father. His whole point was to reflect in, find your way to the Father through self-reflection, through the hero's journey. Find your way to find your flock and proceed in a more Essenic, hermetic tradition. Now, that went totally astray. Then you have other situations throughout our history. Just with that alone, you understand that from that situation came the Romans. And then the Romans did horrific things. You know, they started this whole entity of a church, etc. And as time wore on, war after war after war was fought because of this man's name. Contradiction, right? Complete contradiction. Comes in for peace, creates war. Okay? Then you have an energy like Hitler. Comes into the playing field, comes into existence. And for the most part, this man was shooting out propaganda, dictatorship, supremacy, etc. And I don't take this man lightly. He was very much a double-edged sword, because in every horrific, terrorizing, unhumane, I don't know the term exactly, advance this man made in his existence, in his history of existence, was to decimate and destroy. And yet, from his deplorable, disgusting actions came a lot more unity because people band together to fight one evil, let's say, for example. Okay, so here you have one person doing good, creating the latter, and then you have one person reflecting sheer evil, creating the latter. What I'm trying to say is that this idea of contradiction is very, very understandable in our dual system. So flash forward, we're going through the Crusades, millions upon millions die. We have war after war after war, professing fighting. It could be all for religious backgrounds. You know what I'm saying? You can go into any other predominant religion and you will still see these divisional wars within themselves, And the thing is that this man-made based situation that keeps occurring is going to be our downfall. And currently, in our current existence, we're seeing something similar. We are constantly fighting this battle against an entity that has no real benefit or benefactor towards our existence as human beings on this planet. Just breaking down of all components of what it means to be the family unit, to be cohesive. Like there's this decimation of the small man, the middle class man. It's either you're with them or you're cast down in a sense, and it's like you end up being in a society that can't fend for itself on any level. Doesn't matter what country you're in. I can guarantee things may not be going the way you thought they would be going, and I can guarantee it will continue to be that way. Now we're looking at wars that are predominantly going to determine the next years to come, because more and more bodies are getting involved with this. And the thing is, if we don't realize what we've gone through in our past, and we don't realize that this also too will have a huge impact in our thrust forward as a united collective, we are going to have to decide at one point in this trajectory as to when we take back our power to live. It's going to be fight or flight. And I'm saying that with all of my heart. It's going to be fight or flight. Doesn't matter at what level, but that is going to be the premise of what is going to come. And it's a jolt. It's going to be a huge jolt to our system, to our existence. And we have to be prepared for it. I'm not saying this is happening tomorrow. I like I said in my past video, I'm waiting to see what happens on the 13th. But, that's one facet of a huge wheel of spokes that we're going to be facing soon. And the thing is that the only way we may muster a way out of it is to take back the power, our godly given power of being a human being entitled to the riches of existence that were afforded to us as a birthright. When does it come a time that we need to discernibly say we're not going to deal with this contradiction anymore? I mean, we deal with contradictions even on this, the simplest levels, even as human beings. We're having wars within our civil situations. We're having wars within our racial situations. We're having wars within our gender situations. Everything is designed around us to break us, disband us, make sure we don't see eye to eye. That's the whole trick of this. So the thing is that the only way to be the double-edged sword is to do the opposite, which is to band together, to get together, to throw all of these characteristics away, find a way, because our existence will not go on if we cannot continue to break these barriers down. I know I sound like I'm but this is what I'm getting from this interaction I had. It's like this jolt is going to determine how we proceed as a enlivening, enlightened society of the human species. It's like we go from seeing all this suppression. There has been suppression on every level. And we're giving government too much of a power of body, to decide the fate of ourselves and the planet. So there comes a point where we say to ourselves, how do we go through this worst and make it the best? And this is what I say to you guys. Think about this hard. Get closer to your family. Get closer to those that matter to you. Because we're all going to trek through this together, regardless. You know, we see these contradictions in everything. We even saw it with Trump. We even see it with all types of government bodies. We see it in our financial system. We see it in our health system. We see it everywhere. And I say to you, I want to figure out something. I swear, as my goal and my existence here on this planet, as long as I have it, will be to come up with some type of something. Because this contradiction has to end. This example of where we're headed, and we all know where we're headed. And if you don't know, then turn some stuff on. Take this as somebody just really saying to you all, make the decisions that are best for you, whatever that means. If that means getting out of that job because you want to focus on going to be a farmer out somewhere and saving your family, do it. If it means that you break out of that relationship because you're miserable and you think you'll have a better agenda without people, do it. If you feel like you're just at some place in your life where you're like, I could be doing more, do it. A pussy word, but it's like, this is not a time to dick around. We're like really gonna get thrown in. Like, I also was seeing, like, you know, when like hockey players like get checked into the boards, like this is what's gonna be happening. So please take what I'm saying to heart. And please make sure that you don't lose yourself in this. Fight through it. Stand up for it. And I don't mean just... We have the power. Once we all start to realize that, it'll all make sense. Thank you. Have a great night.